All right, it is 757 Saturday Sports Talk powered by Larry King Law. If you're injured in an accident, you call 757-INJURED for Larry King here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Priority Auto Sports Radio 94.1, also on VirginiaPreps.com and our YouTube channel. We're zooming with the state championship coach, Ed, of the Hampton Lady Crabbers, victorious over Pulaski County on Thursday in the title game for Class 4, 75-63 to cap a wonderful 25-3 season. We're talking about Shanda Billy, the Region 4A Coach of the Year, and I dare say going to get the State Coach of the Year. Coach, congrats on a great victory and a thrilling atmosphere and performance at the Siegel Center. Pulaski was coming back, but your team held them off and played great down the stretch.
Thank you. They did. We thought we played a great first half. And then, the first 2 minutes of the third quarter, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We're trying to make it a game. But Pulaski, they were relentless and they gave us a run for our money.
Well, I think Ed and I both knew coming in that Kennedy Harris was going to be a factor for sure, being player of the year in the region, and I think going to get the award for the state. And the game she had, I think, lived up to the billing and more. 35 points, 11 of 21, 5 of 9 from three assists, and the step back three she made had people oohing and ahhing. That you've coached this young lady for the last few years. At that point, you had to be thinking, my goodness, she's in her bag and she's not going to be stopped.
Absolutely. If you think Kennedy is something watching the games, you should see her in practice sometimes. I mean, sometimes I just have to say, don't pass the ball to Kennedy anymore, because what are we, she's an amazing, amazing talent. So, we told her, like, hey, we're going to need you. They're going to try to deny you as best they can. Don't let them. And, she answered the call.
Now, it's interesting, before I let Ed jump in here, you played Kings Fork in the region championship, beat them pretty handily. We spoke with Maurice Fafana on last week's show, and he said, candidly, we had that hard-fought game with Manor, the top seed. I don't know if we were ready for him. He thought they'd be much more prepared for you this time around. They got up 8 or 9 in the second half. How much resolve and perseverance did your team show to battle back the way you did? And it wasn't just Kennedy Harris. We had some other ladies step up in that comeback win to get to the state finals.
Absolutely. We told them that was going to be our championship game there. I think the first game playing at home, we were just really, really comfortable on our floor. We're used to hitting shots there. We knew that they would come in and try to make adjustments going in for the second game, and they did. And going into the fourth quarter, we were down, and I just told our girls, hey, listen, this is a game of runs. You guys are the best team in the state. If you're going to show it, you have to show it now. You have to show it now. And they came in and they just played extra, extra hard, and we were able to get the lead back in that game. Very proud of them.
Shanda, I got to ask you, let's go back to your prep for Pulaski. Once you get done with Kings Fork, you're playing Pulaski. What were maybe a couple key points that you had to zero in on getting your squad ready for Pulaski?
Believe it or not, it was post defense, but you really couldn't tell from the game, right? We worked on half in the high post, playing behind them and not letting number 12 get off of get downhill on those ball screens. She was still able to do it. We worked on, playing in front of the high post, but, that mid post was kind of tricking us up a little bit. So we had some hiccups on that end of the floor that I think helped keep them in the game. But on our side, we just worked on what we do best. And what we do best is trying to move that ball around, get into our scoring pockets. We worked on us getting downhill and being very, very aggressive against them. We knew that they weren't a team that really pressed a lot. We've seen them press a couple of times on film, but we handle pressure pretty well. So I didn't think that would be a factor going into the game, any type of full court pressure. So we just worked on handling the ball in the half court. When you watch them on defense, they kind of let you catch and try to, pack it in a little bit to try to prevent you from getting into the paint. I think they did a good job at that, preventing Kennedy from getting into the paint as much as she normally can. So we tried to set some ball screens for her to, get her open, play a little high-low. And then we just told Katie, our number 32, our big wing, hey, if you get it, then you attack. But, we just worked on doing what we do well and what's gotten us here all year. I didn't want to change up too much. We made a couple of little, adjustments here or there, but we basically kept to, our same program.
I thought a key for you was number 4, Paige Huff, one of their leading scorers, never really got comfortable in the game. I'm looking at stats right now. Excuse me, 1 for 8 from the floor, 1 for 6 from 3-point line. She only ended up with 3 points. So you did a tremendous job on her. And the other young lady that had stepped through, I think you mentioned earlier, the post player, number 13, Hannah Kiefer. She was a little bit different, 9 of 13 from the floor. She ended up being the complimentary scorer of 23. But I
Absolutely.
think by you taking Huff out of the game, that hurt them.
Yeah, and we're usually a lot more aggressive in the post. I think that the way the refs kind of called the game, they weren't allowing us to be as physical and as aggressive as we are down there. Our bigs in the paint got into some foul trouble a little early, and we really can't risk them being out of the game because they're really the keys to our defense and our offense. Our post players. So we were, a little passive, I think, in the paint, and she was just able to get off. And we spent all week saying, oh, the post defense or their post players, they shouldn't be able to do this to you and do that to you. And they came in and did all of it. So, I think that those 2 players for Pulaski really did a great job. We tried to point out their shooters early and just told our kids, if they get shots off, make sure they're not good looks. Make sure we're closing out hard and, rebounding hard. These will be long rebounds, so everybody needs to block out, and we were able to do that as well.
But the other thing before I let Matt take back over, and noticed, and I think I said to you this in the press room, it looked like they were sticking with shadowing Kennedy early, like they knew in their scouting report, hey, she's going to get points, but we just can't let her get off. And it looked like it worked at first until Kennedy got comfortable playing. Explain on that situation.
Well, at first it looked like they were trying to box and want her, so we went into an offense that we had worked on in practice, and then I kind of realized, it's not really a box. It's just they're trying to deny Kennedy the ball harder than they are anyone else. And we just ran Kennedy off the screens, and she was still able to, get open. I think just the style of basketball, the play from our area and their area is just different. We're used to, our refs letting us play, us being really physical. We're used to, a couple of fouls away from the ball that aren't called, and, and that toughness and gritty. So I think that helped us out and a lot. So, I told Kennedy, you've seen tighter, denials, this year. So don't try it tonight, ma'am. Just, go get the ball. And she was able to do that. She answered the call really well. And I think once she hit a couple of shots, the defender really didn't know how to play her at that point in time. Kennedy is one of those kids that's very hard to guard. She just is. She can get downhill on you. She can run the point guard spot. And I think that kind of confused them a little bit, because if you watch this on film, Kennedy doesn't run the one quite as often as she did in the game the other night. We usually have Kennedy on the wing if we're not fast breaking, but we just put her at the point guard spot and let her kind of facilitate a little bit. And that helped her get more into a rhythm. And it changed the way they played her on defense.
Safe to say George Mason is getting a good one. 35 points, 3 assists for Kennedy Harris as she led the way for Shanda Billy's Crabbers of Hampton High, state champions, victorious over Pulaski County 75-63 in the Class 4 title game for the VHSL state tournament on Thursday at VCU. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Priority Auto Sports Radio 94.1. Also our Zoomcast on VirginiaPreps.com and on the YouTube channel as well. And Coach, it's interesting. I remember making this comment to Ed during one of the commercial breaks that, we all felt like that Hampton King Sport game. I think he said it last week on the show. It should have been the state championship game. They should reseed things. But to Pulaski's credit, they weren't the team that got hammered pretty handily by, I think it was Lake Taylor, like 65-29, 4 or 5 years ago. You remember that state championship game? They did battle back from down 20 in the state championship game to get down to about 5 against you on Thursday. But the thing I'm sure that pleases you as a coach, it pleases Ed as a coach, it pleases any coaches, you were perfect, and I think this gets forgotten about, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. So all that practice hitting free throws came through.
We definitely, every for the last 2 weeks before we go, I'm telling them, go to the line and make 20, go to the line and make 20, make 20, make 20. So, that's how they've ended practice the last few practices. We stressed to them how important free throws are, especially at this point in the season. Everybody can play when you get to, the last four, last eight, all the teams can play. So sometimes it comes down to just stuff like, loose balls, free throws. And I can say this is the first time ever that I recall as a coach that I've had a team shoot perfectly from the line. And I mean, I think what Ed, you have our stats there. What were we? You said 14 for 14, so
14,
it wasn't. Yeah.
14,
So
14.
I mean, plenty of free throw shots, and we make them. So really proud of them for focusing in and getting that job done.
Well, and Pulaski was 8 for 11. And Ed, we always talk about no rebounds, no rings. You don't make free throws, you don't finish off these games, because we've watched it all week calling some of these games on the NFHS network. There have been leads that shrink quickly because teams turn it over, they miss free throws. And to Pulaski's credit, they kept battling back, but your team made crucial plays. Kennedy distributing it. She found KD, Kalia Perry, and your others stepped up to go with Kennedy.
Absolutely, they did a wonderful job playing as a team yesterday. I couldn't be more proud.
Well, and I'm looking again, just to finish up on the stats. You both shot 43% from the floor, but you shot 45% from three. They were 35. So you took that three ball away from them. And then you got them where it really counts on the glass, 38-29, including 21 offensive rebounds. And you did a very good job of second chance points, 26-19. And then you beat them in the paint, 32-24. So you got them everywhere you needed to get them.
Yeah, we have Jaden Hunter, is her and Kalia, Katie, they are great rebounders. I mean, just great. And Jaden just manages to get her hands on everything. Katie is the kind that can go up with two and snatch it. Jaden is, going up with one hand and kind of tipping it to herself or tipping it away from the defender. So two different rebounding styles, and both of them help us out tremendously. So she was able to kick out, get rebounds, and kick out to Kennedy for some second chance 3-point shots that Kennedy hit down. I think she kicked out one to Driana. So she did a great job on getting us those second chance shots.
Be honest, Coach. I know you hurt for the seniors from a few years ago that were co-state champions, and they get a chance to play that state championship game at the Siegel Center. We were looking forward to calling it a few years ago when you had to share the title with
Yeah.
Monica, and along with a bunch of other boys and girls programs that didn't get a chance to play at the Siegel Center because of COVID. This year, to get the full experience, how much sweeter is it in that respect? Not that this team's any better or it's, any more gratifying than what that team went through because it was so difficult, but it was probably much more enjoyable for you to have to deal with this situation and play the game as opposed to a few years ago I have to tell the girls we don't get to play this game.
Absolutely. We've been talking about it since COVID year. We just felt like, the state championship was just avoiding us. It's like, no, not this year, not this year. So, that first year with that 2020 team, definitely, I'm 100% confident we would have won it, that year. The second year, we virtually had the same team back. I felt like we would have won it again. They let the beach teams play, but for some reason, the PD teams couldn't play. So Doja was allowed to go and get a state championship, but we couldn't. So that hurt us again. We were upset about that. So that was 2 years that we felt like we could have gotten it and did, but didn't one year, and then didn't at all the next year. And then last year, it's time for playoffs, and two of my starters that actually, played yesterday and started yesterday, two of them are out. Come on, it was like a perfect storm. And the number one team, you work so hard to get here. You're playing the last place team. You've seen them on film, and you're like, okay, there's no way this team is going to beat us, and they beat you. So it's like this year it was just kind of like redemption for us. It's like we get an opportunity to go in and show what we are able to do. So it was definitely a sweet victory. Definitely a sweet victory for my senior, especially Kennedy, because she was a freshman on that state championship team that really didn't get to finish. And to be able to go out like that, just couldn't be more happy for all of the seniors and the entire team.
An awesome moment for the Hampton Lady Crabbers, their fourth state championship as a girls program, I think, since 2001, and Shanda Bailey's second one at the Helmet.
Yeah,
Well,
and
this is my, let me add, this is my
Yep.
third. I was one of Six's assistant, so it's my second as a head coach. but I was
And I'm
6th assistant at one of them, so I have 3 with Hampton High
I'm
School.
glad you brought that up because I want to throw out there we have a listener that sent me a message. You know him pretty well. I believe his name is Woodrow Wagner, who said to tell you hello. He's a longtime Hampton supporter, and he mentioned she learned very well from David Six, and I'm sure you've exchanged some messages with Coach Six, and some of those old Hampton stories
Yes.
from your playing days, coaching days came through in this one.
Yeah, Six called me today to congratulate me. I will say this, David Six is probably the smartest coach that I have been under. Just and a lot of my coaching style mimics his a lot as far as X's and O's are concerned. When I first got back at Hampton, I would call him a lot for advice on how he would handle things and how I look at things. And he's just had a major influence on how I coach and how I approach the game. So definitely, we learned a lot. I think he's probably had 3 coaches or 3 players that I know of that went on to coach Division I basketball. I was one of them. Siobhan Earp is the assistant or associate head coach at North Carolina A&T. And then Waynetta Vini played on my team, and she was over at Temple. So he does a great job grooming his kids.
Well, what's next for you, Shonda? I mean, I know you got to sit back and enjoy this, relax on it, and of course, as we all do in the coaching business, think about next year. What's your immediate future for you and the young ladies?
Well, Boo called. We have practice on Sunday, so I'll be right into AAU season.
No vacation at all. You go straight into practice, huh?
No, I'm right into it. In all honesty, we have our JV girls went undefeated this season. Super, super, super proud of them. So we have some kids coming up the pipeline that we think will do a very good job transitioning into our varsity program. We'll spend some time this summer making sure that we get them up to speed and try to make waves for losing those 3 guards that'll be going on to school. But that's part of the game. You get them, you only have them for 4 years, and you wish them well and you'll miss them, but there'll be kids that are coming up behind them. So we'll just spend some time doing some drill work, some conditioning work, and hope for the best next season.
Well, she's a 3-time state champion coach, twice as the head coach, also as an assistant. The head coach of the Hampton Lady Crabbers, victorious over Pulaski County, 75-63. We congratulate you. An awesome job by your girls, your entire staff. I know the whole city of Hampton, the community was out there in full force at the Siegel Center on Thursday. So proud of you and the young ladies, and probably also going to be a future co-host of this show because every time I go on the road, Ed tries to boot me out and bring you in the studio to co-host with him. So I'm sure that's going to happen as well, as you might have a future in the media business too. All the best to you. Enjoy the spring, the
Thank
AAU
you.
circuit, and we look forward to catching up with you down the road.
Thank you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm coming up to watch PA play. So I'm hoping Doja gets one.
All right. We'll see you at
See you then,
VCU.
Shonda.
That is Coach
All right.
Shanda Billy, the Hampton Lady Crabbers, state champions yet again here at 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Also on our YouTube channel and VirginiaPreps.com, where we're always zooming, and keep it tuned right here to Priority Auto Sports Radio 94.1.